Pilots have to rely on skill and luck in the craziest of situations where every fraction of a second counts. Buckle up and watch these incredible moments in aviation, the outcome of which no one could predict. The pilot didn't expect to have to fight not only the wind, but also a piece of roof. I'm just as glad as the guys in the video that this pro managed to level out and land the helicopter. This runway seems to have just refused to let this AN-2 land. But despite this, the pilot and passengers survived the situation unscathed. Major Nathan Miller is much more than a pilot for the Blue Angels. He is master of the elements. 6 seconds. That's how much time passed between the unexpected fire and the complete crash of this Su-25. But the pilot managed to eject and also shot this video for you. How to cheer up bored employees before the air show? You will now see one of the greatest pilots of all time, Matt Yunkin. Are you sad if you do something perfectly? Next time, think of this Piper pilot who didn't see the helicopter at the airfield in perfect weather. Oh, by the way, he's fine and still flying. When you want to be like Maverick, but you have to fly to Escobar International Airport. This maneuver can only be done in 2 situations, when you're a super pro or when you're in Microsoft Flight Simulator. What you see, a terrible crash and a fighter pilot saved by a miracle. What the pilot says, it's not my best landing, but not the worst. It must have been an incredibly dangerous Cessna since its intercept required an F-15C. Even among the pros, only a few people are capable of this trick. Others just love life too much to attempt it. This pilot has a unique record in F1. He crashed without moving from the spot. Oh, by the way, the other pilot is also not to blame. It wasn't their fault. What is this guy doing? He has a plane. Never do that. He can. He's a pro and rehearses tricks for the Circus of the Machines show. When the CF-18 suddenly went out of service, the pilot saved his Martin Baker Nace's seat, an amazing invention that has already saved the lives of 8,000 pilots. The pilot of this Cessna seems to have forgotten that he's not on the B-52 and his plane has no small wheels on the wings, but his skills helped him cope with the situation. Bravo! Jokes like this are only appropriate when your friend is also a pilot who will definitely appreciate it. When you're at an altitude of 1,830 meters, a successful landing at 250 kilometers an hour isn't just luck, but a blessing. To make a landing as extreme as this one with a broken wheel, you need to be as fearless as this undaunted pilot. Here, everything that could go wrong went wrong. Thankfully, the talented helicopter pilot was able to adjust it and no one was hurt. If you were wondering how well designed this retro plane is, the antenna helped answer that question. Is there a plane crash to happiness? This Su-30MK crashed during training before the opening of the Paris Air Show in 1999, and its pilots were ejected. But if it had happened during the show, the audience could have been hurt. During the maneuver, this Black Hawk almost went to the Kraken. But thanks to the skill of the pilot, landing went well for everyone, except the blades. Someone, Alaska's so boring. Meanwhile, spotters head to Bettles to witness a beautiful low pass by a DC-6. Do you have any idea what kind of nerves it takes to continue on after such a tail strike as if nothing had happened? That pilot is awesome. The bad news is that the MiG-29 pilot misplaced the chassis, which led to an engine fire. The good news is that he was ejected in time, so he didn't get hurt. The kind of luck is different. You can survive an accident, or you can miraculously avoid it, like this pilot. I don't know what's cooler, the skill of the pilot or the strong belly of the plane. But the passengers didn't even notice that something was wrong. An air show during a strong wind is a bad idea, but I give credit to the skill of the pilot who managed to make the softest landing in these such conditions. This guy is gonna show you the craziest way to lose your pilot's license. I hope he comes to his senses if he wants to live. Maybe the pilot didn't want to let go of the Swedish Air Force since he decided to fly on a Hercules at 5 meters above people's heads. He was fired after the incident. Scary pilot's dream. You lose control on a small site with people nearby. He sent a helicopter up the hill with incredible effort, and for his bravery, God left the boy alive. Landing a plane on the ice is a unique and difficult skill, and this pilot mastered it brilliantly. Any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. Great job to the pilot and crew. Due to the failure of the cable, this Su-33 could not stop in time and went forever to the bottom of the sea. Sometimes, even the cool and reliable RAF Harrier can turn into a pile of scrap metal in a matter of 30 seconds. It's a good thing that the pilot had left the cockpit by then. That day, the fire engine on the runway was the cause of the fire. The 280 passengers on the plane were fine, but someone needs to review their safety training. This is how you get your friends to notice your amazing piloting skills, only to show them how fabulous you know how to screw up. One of the most ridiculous $8 million losses ever. A brand new Augusta-Westland AW-169 turned into scrap in just 30 seconds due to pilot error. Luckily, no one was hurt. The first demonstration of MiG-29 in 1989 can hardly be called successful, but its pilot, Anatoly Kvochur, is really lucky. This Yak-3 of the Second World War could have shown at air shows for many years, if not for a freight elevator accidentally caught in the way.
He's okay.
108 passengers had 64 seconds to ponder their mortality while the pilots coped with a burning plane. And thanks to their efforts, all these people returned home alive. We all need to touch nature sometimes, even the Eurofighter Typhoon. At 3,700 meters altitude, the helicopter suddenly decided to drop the chassis and the pilot had to make a heroic landing without wheels. Fortunately, he succeeded. The audience did not expect to see an RAF Harrier crash. Fortunately, it didn't happen when the pilot flew over the beach. When the pilot realized that he could not take off, he decided to minimize the damage and try to save himself. He succeeded, and the Tu-22M3, of course, was canceled. Hard to believe, but it's the airport. Yes, the Talcha Airport in the mountains of Nepal at an altitude of 2,735 meters. And here, a good landing is considered one where everyone survived. Imagine you're sitting in a C-130, landing calmly, looking out the window, and suddenly, it's... Fortunately, the Hercules is a sturdy plane and the whole crew is fine. If you don't learn anything else in flight school, at least learn to respect density altitude. This was way too close. The 800-meter runway seemed endless for passengers during this crazy crash landing. Oh, the pilot did it! Imagine filling out an accident report with your insurance company and claiming that you were hit by an airplane. Oh my god, a rather expensive way to cut trees, don't you think? Fear number 456, to be in a burning plane like this pilot. Good thing the firefighters reacted quickly and no one was burned. See what happens if you can't connect the hose. Now, the rest of the airplanes are gonna be thirsty. Look at this phenomenal landing. Pilots shut down the engines before the touchdown to prevent pieces of metal from flying off the plane and evacuated immediately. Great job. This F-16 seems to have decided to stay and help the guys with the groundwork. Have you ever seen a jumping plane? Could it be powered by flubber? In the battle between this Cessna and a strong crosswind, the pilot's skill came out on top. The plane managed to stabilize and land safely. A plane crash over houses could have had terrible consequences, but the fighter fell into the parking lot and no one was hurt. This is what it looks like to land at one of the most dangerous airports in the world on the Caribbean island of St. Barthélemy. Would you dare to go there? On that day in 1989, during a desert training flight, this plane was taken away forever. This flight turned into a double disaster for its pilot. It seems fate told him that this engine needed to be jettisoned. This C-130 landed in Antarctica for the last time. Having found itself in a blanket of snow, the plane stood there for almost a year until it was dismantled. This is Chukotka, where the temperature reaches -50 degrees Celsius and the snow level is 1.5 meters. And to land a plane here successfully requires a lot of luck. Do you land the plane in a storm or circle around until it subsides? This pilot chose the second option and did not miss. The Douglas DC-3 and its pilot have a combined age of 140 years, and it's definitely time for one of them to retire. Apparently, the pilot was so worried about being watched by relatives that he did not take off. There's self-service, but this pilot definitely needs help. Help learning that you do not need to take off in this kind of wind if he wants to live. The Yak 52 is so strong that even an accident with jumps and somersaults didn't hurt it much. The pilot and the plane were in service a week later. Even without the chassis, you can make a perfect landing if you're an ace, like the pilot of this fighter did. Incredible skill. Imagine what the pilot must have felt when the Gripen's landing gear failed and he had to stay airborne for another hour just to figure out what to do. But he is a true pro. He brought the plane in safely and ejected with perfect timing. You immediately noticed that the plane has no front chassis. I was shocked as the pilot kept balance and did not touch the ground with its belly. He avoided the fire and saved all 113 people on board. This pilot was in such a hurry for lunch that he hit the runway with his wing and nearly killed his flanker aide. You're not you when you're hungry. God, is he getting ready for F1, or could he just fly and enjoy the beauty around him? That pilot has cat-like reflexes. Even in slow motion, you can see him apply the left rudder almost instantly. Sometimes even the best pilots don't land very well. But thanks to their professional training, a major tragedy was avoided. Have you ever witnessed or participated in incredible moments in aviation? Write about it in the comments, and stay tuned for the next video.